We're checking in today with Coach Eric Westling. He is the head coach of the Cheyenne East Lady Thunderbirds. Coach Westling, thanks for being patient with us and taking a few minutes of your day to speak with us today.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Coach Westling, I'm kind of a stat nerd, and so one of the first things that happens when I pull up a sheet that looks at the Lady Thunderbirds is, number one, your girls are 10-0, which is impressive, but the points scored just a shade under 68 points and allowing only 32.7. These are wyopreps.com stats. That tells me you guys are not only very, very proficient in scoring, but that you're really dedicated to playing defense too. Tell us about your girls' team. There's always a winning tradition with Cheyenne East, but tell us about this year's team in particular and some of the goals and motivations that they have.
Basically, we are all over the board in terms of class. We've got 3 seniors that contribute quite a bit. We've got a slew of juniors and sophomores. They all come together. They're all very talented. They all play a ton of basketball. We have multi-sport athletes, of course, but basketball is a lot of their thing, what they like to do. So you put them all together, and it's been fun to watch this group of girls come together. The thing that always sticks out with me with this group is communication. They communicate very well on the court together. They communicate off the court well together, and so I think that's led to them being able to function as a unit and do really well. And so that, as much time as they put in the gym, yes, we're shooting at a really good clip right now, but they're also very athletic and long. So that's led to our defensive ability to be where it is. And so putting those together right now has been really good.
Well, a couple of those players, again, as a stat nerd, the numbers that kind of jump off the page, obviously I'm looking at Jordan Jones, number 2, and then also Bowden Liljadal, number 23. Both of those players shooting well over 40% from the three-point line, which is just really impressive. And then as a team, your Lady Thunderbirds shooting 37% as a team. How do you achieve those numbers? Those are very impressive.
A lot of work in the off season from kids individually, and that's where I think that's what's made this group really special is there's so many of them on the same team that have put in so much work to be individually as good as they are in terms of shooting, but then you take that element and then there's not a lot of ego on this team. It's whoever wants, whatever can help us win. And so for our shooters, I think in large part we've got a 6'4" post and Darcy Jardine and 6 foot and 6 foot in terms of Lisiana Fonseca and Kira Walsh. So if you try and take our outside shooting away, then we will, expose you inside with our bigs. And I think that's allowed our shooters to have great shots. We talk a lot about great shots because if you want to take that away, then we'll go inside and post you up there.
Taking a look at the 4A East and then the 4A class in general, what are some of the challenges that you foresee coming up on that? And then also, what are some of the challenges that you've already faced this year?
I think our constant challenge, and I've been really proud of the girls accepting this challenge, is just making sure that we're being the best versions of ourselves that we can be. I think a lot of times kids, especially high school kids, will look at things like record and they'll buy into their own hype and think they're the best thing since sliced bread. And what we've preached to this group, and so far so good, is we've got to be as good as we can be every night, not just what our record says. So that's been the major challenge to start with. In terms of the East, Thunder Basin is going to be a problem. Sheridan, scrappy. In-town rivalries are always games that are a little messy. So we got a ton of challenges ahead of us.
Do you feel like this team, looking at that undefeated start and coming off obviously the team championship, do you feel like they're in a good headspace? Because just looking at the schedule so far, nobody's really come close to you guys in what you consider the non-conference season. You're running teams off the court. So do you feel like they're in a good mindset that way to kind of start over for conference play and be ready for that?
I do. I think, we're still close enough to 2 years ago and have enough kids on our team from there. You don't take any day for granted when you get to be on the court, because that can be taken away. And that used to be a talk about injury or things of that nature. But, with what's happened in the world for the last 2.5 years, I think it still resonates with our kids that we want to be the best we can be all the time. And I see that from them quite a bit, and that's fun to watch.
What are some of the things that you'd like to see happen, both from maybe some of your individual players, but obviously the state championship's a team goal? What are some other goals other than just being that best version?
We had 2 all-state kids last year. Call me greedy, but you as a coach, you always want as many all-state kids as you can get, all-conference kids as you can get, and I think if our kids are doing the right thing, that's attainable for us. Regional championship, and we really focus on the next game ahead of us, and we've got Riverton, and that we've got lofty goals, but we're 0-0 every day, and I know that sounds like coach speak, but for a group like we've got right now, that's how we have to approach it. And so I think in what I've preached to them, and so far it's worked, is if they take care of their day, those goals, those personal individual goals, will show through. And so Green River is a perfect example did a good job of getting out on our shooters in our inside game. Kira and Darcy combined for 35 points and 20 rebounds. So those are goals that we want to see. If you're going to play a certain style, just making sure we can transition to the next girl that can do some damage.
You talk about the 2 years removed and having the state tournament and some things taken away, and you talk about that still being mindful in the mindset of the kids. What type of experience are they having this year? Are they, as you said, are they excited to be playing ball, obviously, but do you feel like there's that kind of specter over the shoulder that's going to happen again, or do you feel like as a state we're kind of dodging that bullet?
Yeah, I feel like we're dodging it, but I think it's always kind of omnipresent. Once that happens to you, you don't get rid of that and think everything's normal again, and that'll probably be something that lives with those kids for the rest of their lives. But I do think we're functioning well as a state. I was really happy with our governing body to allow us to play last year, and thought it went really well. We've already been snowed in once, and after last year, we were snowed in for about a week in Casper after the state tournament. So that kind of set off its own set of issues.
Well, that's been an issue for since statehood, I guess.
For
Wyoming. We've been speaking with Coach Eric Westling. He's the head coach of the Cheyenne East Lady Thunderbirds, off to an undefeated start and defending that state title. Coach, anything we haven't touched on that you might want to mention about your team?
I just would encourage everybody to go out and support your local athletes, and it's fun basketball right now. So I appreciate you guys having me on.
We appreciate your time, and thank you so much, and good luck to you and your crew for the rest of the